We often talk about the great people in our community volunteering to look after people. Now, you don't have to go all the way to becoming a foster parent. There are ways you can sort of ease into it. And one of the ways is through Caresouth's Aunties and Uncles program. And they've been asking people to make a bit of a resolution lately to become an auntie or an uncle, just as a way to mentor a young person in a kind of a temporary way. But it's had some far-reaching effects on some young people, as you'll hear in just a moment. I'm joined in our studio here from a couple of people. Clare Wilson is Caresouth's Aunties and Uncles program manager, and she's in with us. How are you going?
Good, Nick.
And Margaret Herbert is an auntie. Hello, Margaret. How are you going?
Good, thank you.
Now, so many people in your kind of situation are just dead glad that the children are out of the house and you can be free. What makes you get back on the horse again as an auntie?
That's interesting, getting back on the horse. I think that's definitely what my husband Greg and I did, because we have two teenage children who are becoming a young lady and a young man, and
you're free.
Well,
they won't wake up in the morning demanding pancakes like mine do mine at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning.
But it meant we couldn't go to Nowra Animal Park and go and make sandcastles on the beach anymore. So maybe our initial thought to volunteer with children was quite a selfish one, because both of us enjoy young children. We hadn't got grandchildren yet. And yes, so we decided we'd join the volunteer
so it's a
program.
way of accessing those really enjoyable things about being a parent.
It is.
That's what an excellent motivation.
Absolutely enjoyable, and the program really is. We link with our niece, and we've linked with our niece now for 6 years, and it is very enjoyable. She's become part of our family, and we do fun things.
Now, what's the object of this program, Claire? What are you trying to achieve for these kids?
It's a program that tries to achieve many things, Nick. We know that families are increasingly isolated in our community, and we know that this program, we've been running this service now for 21 years along the South Coast, and we've seen really wonderful things happen for kids who experience disadvantage and vulnerability in their lives. It's an early intervention philosophy, so our whole premise is to get in early and to support children and families before things become, I guess, at the pointy end of child protection. And the fact that we use or utilise really wonderful community volunteers means that people have the right motivation. So what we're trying to do is give kids access to really, I guess, well-adjusted, safe, caring adults who make the commitment over time to spend fun time, as Margaret describes, with children, but also to provide them with structure and positive relationships so that in their life they'll think about the choices that they make as well.
So it is like going to stay with an auntie or an uncle.
It is.
For
it's
the weekend.
It's an extended family relationship. It doesn't mean that you have to, as a volunteer carer in our program, you don't have to have children of your own. We have some, many different, I guess, people who experience this program differently. Some people have got kids, they're empty nesters. Other people haven't had children, and we've got single people involved. So really what it's about is ensuring that people have a genuine interest in seeing children do well, that understand some of the things that come with disadvantage and some of the challenges, because it's not always fun, but it is always rewarding, and it is always about, I guess, really believing that it does take a community to raise a child. And if we all consider that all around us there are some children who struggle and who have less than happy experiences, that we can make some positive influence on that.
How do you deal with some of the potential negatives? Comparisons is something that comes to mind, like my auntie's and uncle's house that I visit is nicer than mine, and they do different things, and you come back home and it feels a bit different.
Sure.
How do you kind of deal with that?
A lot of people ask that question. I think that we don't come from a place where we really want our carers to do typical normal things with children. It's not about treats, and it's not about showing them something that's unreal or unfamiliar. It's about typical, normal, everyday
This
things.
is what we do in our house.
That's right.
You're with us.
This is healthy eating. This is let's go to the supermarket and choose something nice to cook together that's healthy, and let's talk about what's in our food, and let's go down to the beach with our dog, and let's go and look at some of the lovely things in our area that a lot of children aren't seeing. So it's not anything special or overwhelming. It's very typical everyday stuff. And I can guarantee you, even for children who have a really difficult home life, all children want to go home at the end of the weekend to their own families, because kids love their own families. So we're not trying to...
Does it sometimes improve the relationship just to have that break?
Oh,
Is it
yeah,
like
it
respite
does.
care?
Absolutely. And though we don't call it a respite service, it gives not just... it gives both the child and their parents respite. So our service doesn't actually work to provide families respite as our major component. It's about the child's positive experience when they spend time with their volunteer carers or their aunties and uncles. And that happens to be a good respite for their parents.
So how often are you auntieising, Margaret?
Well, we usually see our niece about once a month, but it's not strictly that it has to be once a month. You can be very flexible. I know Claire had mentioned that people are a bit nervous about going into aunties and uncles because they worry that they have such busy lives. Yeah. We have busy lives, but we fit it into our lives. So when we have our niece over, like you said earlier, they do the things we do as a family. Just bake a cake, get the paint out, even help do the ironing.
Oh,
but
yes, please.
There are some little hurdles at first, but we found that we had immense support from Caresouth. They were there for us if we had those at the other end of a phone, and the program for us has worked brilliantly.
What was that first weekend like?
We were more nervous, I think, than she would have been, because we were really hoping that she would like us. But we'd already met the family and knew that the family were happy with us, and we just took things easy, and I think we baked a cake and it was successful. So it was great.
Before she comes to your place on her own, you meet the family.
Yes, there's,
so that's another first date I want to ask you about as well.
It is. No, that was fine. Mum was terrific, and Mum was very supportive of the programme, as were siblings. And as I said, Caresouth, is very supportive all the way. So you're not thrown in the deep end. They're there for you to work you through the process.
Yeah. How do you describe what you're proposing to one of these families that you're offering this early intervention to?
I guess families come to us from a variety of places. I mean, it can be that they decide that they're in a difficult spot themselves.
There's conflict, they're always fighting and they need a break. Or how do people come to you?
It's all sorts of reasons. I mean, children come to us via referrals from other professionals. So we work in the child protection sector. So we're obviously getting referrals for children from a variety of places, or, it can come from the family themselves. But what's important is that it doesn't matter where the referral originates from, the family has to be they're also volunteering for the service. No one is leaned on to actually take this up. Everyone has, I guess, a lot of information provided to them. We go through that process very carefully with people, both the family and with the volunteer carers, and we explain it every step of the way so that no one's left without, transparent and honest information about what that process is going to look like, and we manage the relationships between the two over time.
Clare Wilson from Caresouth in our studio with us, alongside Margaret Herbert, one of our auntie volunteers for Caresouth program. So how do people get involved, Clare? What do they do?
Well, we're running a number of information sessions at the moment, Nick, across the South Coast. So we've got one coming up in Austinmere next Monday at the Anglican Church Hall. We've got one in Bomaderry. I think it's on the Wednesday night or the Thursday. I'm not sure.
I've got it in front of me here.
Oh, great!
Actually. There we go.
How people get involved really is to give us a call. They can go to our website, which is www.caresouth.org.au, or ring us on our toll-free number. But we encourage people to just pick up the phone and ask us some questions, talk to us about it, and we're very happy to just gently walk through the process with people. But we'd love the public to come to an information session. There'll be lots of information, there'll be other carers there to talk to, and they'll get a full description of what our program is all about.
I tell you what, I love Margaret's motivations for being an auntie, giving you an excuse to see the animal park and to go and see Despicable Me 2 or whatever it turns out to be. Eat more ice cream. Might it put pressure on your grown-up children to supply you with grandchildren?
Maybe, but maybe not. Another 10 years,
if you won't give me some, I'll get one of my own.
He's done a wonderful job.
Thank you. But lots of fun. Very, very rewarding.
Oh, thank you so much for coming in. I wish you all the best. We've got all the details here if people want to call us, or go to Caresouth's website, caresouth.org.au, if you want to find out more. Margaret and Claire, a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
See you later.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
It's coming up to 23 past 10 on 97.